I'm Bob Olson.
And I'm Jackie Olson.
And we've been married 57 years.
That's right. So we started dating in 1961, and my grandmother, Stella Mae Gowan Allen, worked at the shirt factory. She sewed at the shirt factory in Lawrenceburg, Tennessee. And Bob's next door neighbor worked there, and close to where Mama Allen worked. And so she told Mama, said, well, she'll never get him because there's too many girls around West Point after him. Which I found out later there were a lot of West Point girls after him. But anyway, once we started dating, we kept on dating, and he's the only one I ever dated. And he didn't date anybody else after he started dating me. So we were going steady. And Bob in 1962 went to Martin College in Pulaski, a junior college. And I was
How old were you?
I was a junior in high school.
I was 17 and she was 15 at that point.
I guess so. Or, yeah. So, anyway, he graduated from Martin in 1964 in the spring, and I graduated from Loretta High School in May of 1964, and he gave me a diamond ring at my graduation. So we were engaged, and he was going to Tennessee Tech in Cookeville.
How did he give you the ring? Like, tell us about that day.
I don't remember. I wish I remembered
You
that.
remember?
No. He said he paid $3.
I remember getting her in their living room, getting down on one knee.
That is a story you're making up.
Well, it's a good story. Leave that alone.
It's a good story, but it's not true.
I don't remember either, Dean.
We were not big on ceremony, I guess. So anyway,
She had already asked me to marry her several times.
I had not. Don't tell things that are not true. There's enough about us that's true. So that was in May of 1964 that I graduated from high school, and he was going to Tennessee Tech in Cookeville to get his mechanical engineering degree, which he did. And so I went there.
And she was going to Florence State to begin with.
Yeah, I had planned to go to Florence State in Alabama, which is now UNA, University of North Alabama, but I was going to become a teacher, and but I knew that I was going to miss Bob, and we were engaged, and bottom line, Daddy didn't think I would go. He didn't think if I went down there I would stay because I would miss Bob too much, and he might have been right. Anyway, he asked me did I wanted to go to Tennessee Tech with Dad with Bob, and I said yes. So I went to Tennessee Tech, and I went 1 year, and I took a secretarial course, and while he was getting his engineering degree. And then I worked at the college in the administrative offices. I worked in the housing office, and I was.
You're still engaged at this point.
No, we got married. Okay. When we went up there.
Let's focus on your engagement.
All right. During our engagement, we went off to college together.
To Tech.
To Tennessee Tech in Cookeville, and we lived there about almost 3 years, I guess.
How long were you engaged?
6 months.
7 months, something like that.
Okay.
So we went up there, and we had to stay in the dorms, and of course we saw one another often, ate breakfast together most days, and then went to our classes and stuff. And then in October, right before his...
You're fixing to go. The first time we came home, 2 weeks later, went to the fair.
It's not 2 weeks later, it's right before your birthday. Well, anyway, went to the fair at the end of the fair in Lawrenceburg was always the week that ended September and started October. And so we went there, and he had an accident, and he stabbed himself in the liver. And
with a letter opener, I won trying to win her a teddy bear.
and so it was really, really crowded there that day. It was Saturday night at the fair, and everybody, that was the last night, and everybody went. Used to be a big thing. And everybody had picked cotton and everything and saved their money up to go to the fair and all this stuff. So he wound up having to be taken to Nashville, to St. Thomas Hospital, and had exploratory surgery because they knew he was bleeding internally but didn't know where. And he stayed there for a week. And he was very, very weak and had to withdraw from college.
Mm-hmm.
So that left me at Tennessee Tech by myself.
What year?
Well, it was 1964 in the fall.
The first time I woke up in the hospital, her mother was there. Nobody else. Wiping my mouth.
I was right there. He just couldn't see
I
me.
think you'd gone home.
No. Anyway, so I had to go back to school from there. I called my roommate who lived in Nashville and rode back with her and her boyfriend. Anyway, so we missed one another so much that I decided we had decided to get married in June of '65. And I decided we were going to get married on Christmas vacation. So I told him we're going to make a wedding date. And he agreed. And so there was no proposal. I just told him when we were going to be there, get married, and where. At first I thought I'd get married at 5 Points Church of Christ, where we went to church all the time. But Daddy happened to be not in church at that time, and so he said, if you have a wedding in the church, I won't be there. So Mother and I decided we would have the wedding at our house in the living room. So that's what we did. And we had set our wedding date for the 27th of December, but Nancy had to have her tonsils out, and it happened to be scheduled on that day. And so we changed it to the 26th. 5 o'clock, the 26th comes around, all my family is there. It's just a family wedding.
Was the preacher there?
Yes, I'm sure. Charles Leonard, who had been my preacher and his boss at Kroger. He always worked part-time when he went to college, and usually at Kroger. And so anyway, at 5 o'clock comes and goes, and no Bob, no Olsons. 5 minutes later, of course you can imagine all the men in my family. Well, he's got cold feet, he's not coming. But I learned not to depend on Olsons to be on time from that particular point.
And that went from one generation to the other.
Oh, but anyway, no, Dean can be on time. He's kept a good job for all these years. So anyway, so we got married there, and we had to go back to school, and we had, in that time, that right before the wedding, Bob had been able to come up to Cookeville to see me, and we went around looking at apartments, but most of them were rented for the fall quarter and all, and through the year, and so it was hard to find an apartment that we could afford, which we didn't have much money at all. So we found this little old trailer, a house trailer. Actually, it was probably going to be a camping trailer. It was 8 by 33. Those were the dimensions. It had an oil heater in it.
Looked like an egg.
Yeah, and no air conditioning, which Bob took care of. This is the second summer he found us a used air conditioner. It kept freezing up, but it helped. It was a hot place in the summertime and cold in the winter, but until you got that oil heat fired up, and then it kept things pretty warm. But this was one of those uh, little trailer houses that every nook and cranny was a cubby, a little bitty closet, a little bitty cabinet or something, and so that we didn't have anything anyway.
Y'all bought it or rented it?
We
Bought it.
we bought it on time, paying a
And Daddy wound up making the payments.
Daddy knew about the last year of Bob's school. He had to quit working because he was really trying to get out of college and get his degree, and the army was after him.
He's trying to avoid Vietnam.
Yeah, trying to keep out of the army and get his degree and all, which he had gotten sick.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yes,
Who made the payments?
my dad took him
You
over.
said daddy, but
My daddy.
your dad. Okay.
Yeah,
So you're,
yeah, my daddy did.
Junior Allen.
Yes. He knew we were struggling, and he was a very generous man. In fact, every time we came home for a visit, Graham gave us canned food and stuff, and Mother did, and all this stuff, and Daddy would always give us a little money because he was working at TVA that time and was making good money. But he had 3 other kids at home, you know. So anyway, Bob had to quit working at Kroger part-time because he had such a heavy load, and about killed him to get all that done. He had just 21 hours and something of engineering courses and all these labs and everything. And so, but he did. He got his degree in August of 1967.
It's not a 4.0.
He got his degree in mechanical engineering, and he got a job at Brown Engineering, which he's already told about. And we moved to Huntsville, Alabama.
before you go to Huntsville, tell us more about this egg-shaped.
Oh, the place we lived.
Yeah.
We lived in Osha Williams Trailer Park, 1078 East 10th Street, Cookeville, Tennessee. We didn't have zip codes back then. But it was about a mile from Tennessee Tech, up 10th Street. It's not there anymore. There's probably apartments or some business or something there. But we had friends in the trailer park that we kept for years and kept in touch with. But anyway, we spent our first 2.5 years of married life there, and it was good, you know. So we managed, and like I said, I went to work at Tennessee Tech at administrative offices and the housing office when I got out of college in '65. I got out of my first year, the secretarial course, and I worked there until about the time for us to leave to go to Huntsville.
When did you work at McCordwin Textron?
About from January till August
Of what year?
of
67.
'67. Yeah,
And what did you do there?
I was a secretary.
Okay.
Yeah. So we went to Huntsville. He started work at Brown Engineering. And 2 weeks, took me a week to get the apartment. We moved into some nice apartments, and I don't remember the name of those, but they were really close to
Madison Garden.
Madison Gardens. You're right. We had some friends that lived there, and made more friends, but there. So anyway, it was at Research Park, real close to. We were within 5 minutes of both of our work areas, which was ideal. And so, but within 2 weeks, I had a job as an executive secretary to 2 presidents of a company, and I do not remember the name of the company, but I'm sure it was in the space program. I do remember one of the guys, the presidents there, or maybe he was vice president, but his name was Mr. Mueller, and he spoke with a German accent because he was German, and I remember at Christmas one time he brought me a little bitty silver mirror, and I probably still have that. But he was a very nice gentleman, soft spoken. Anyway, I got pregnant right away. I went to work not knowing I was pregnant, might not have been then, but so
She wanted to be, by the way.
absolutely, I really wanted to, right?
Well, let's
Right away.
back up. While I was in school, she was working in the school,
At Tech, yeah.
and we didn't have a phone at home or cell phone. Only access to a phone was when she was at work. And my mother called her one day and said the draft board lady called her, and I called my mother, and said that I was being drafted. Said they've got notified that he's not in school anymore. So Jackie sends a note over and she gave it to me in, I think, machine design class or something. Says you've been drafted. And anyway, I got called up for a physical. Went and had the physical and passed it. They couldn't see one another. But the physical was it'd have you lean over and spread your cheeks and open your mouth. One walk in front of you, one behind you. If they couldn't see one another, you passed the physical for the Army. But anyway, she found out they'd reported some other student who had quit or what. It went on numbers back in, not names. One number above me or below me had left. So they got that straightened out. So I was back in school. So I got within a year or less of graduating. So they called me up for another physical for the Army, which I passed again, miraculously. And said, you know, as soon as I graduated, I'd be, well, both times they told me I'd be in boot camp within a week and in Vietnam within 2 months. But, so I was, you know, puzzling around with that. So I thought if I could get out and get a occupational deferred job, that's why I went to work for the NASA company, which didn't work, by the way. But, that, you know, could be all right. But I was in a trailer park, an Air Force recruiter happened to be in that park. He says, well, join the Air Force. I says, why would I do that? That's 4 years, the Army's only 2. Odds of surviving in the Air Force would be better. I don't know why I thought that way, but anyway, I went and took the physical over the Air Force, and it was for, I was gonna have a degree when I went in that training, so they were gonna make me an officer, second lieutenant or something.
Officers Training School.
Put me in an officer's training school. But I went and did all that, and he told me, said they're gonna make you think that you're in the Air Force, but until you come and hold up your hand and get sworn in, you're not in the Air Force. And so he says, just send them a letter and tell them you're not coming. So I went and took the job I hope was deferred. And, you know, the time's coming where I had to go to the Air Force, so I wrote them a letter back and said, yeah, I ain't coming. And so they sent me one back and says I'd been disqualified because I didn't show up or something. I don't remember. But within a week of that, she told me you was coming. And we sent that into the draft board, and it changed me from.
She was pregnant with Dean Olson.
That's right. So, yeah. So right after we got to, in 67, the fall of 67, well, I got pregnant and I hadn't been working there very long, but I kept on working for several months. But back then, Vietnam was really going strong, and and we were having a lot of guys being killed.
100 people a week.
And so the obstetricians would send a letter to the draft board when you got pregnant. So that's what happened. And that kept him from going right then.
Changing from a 1A to a 2A or
Something. Anyway. And so, like I said, I kept working till the spring, late spring, I guess, of 68. And then Dean was born, and we had to stay there in those apartments for a year or lose our deposit or something. So we stayed there in August, and he had already got the job at Browns Ferry then. And so Gordon Dean Olson was born, Dean, 9 pounds and 2 ounces, breech baby, and by C-section. But all went well. We all survived it, and we moved to Athens in a little 2-bedroom duplex apartment. And he worked at Browns Ferry for 7 years there. But so after a while, he got several raises. He did well on the job. Everybody liked him that worked with him, and they always have. They keep telling me that when I meet people now. But so we moved to a house that we found a good deal on, out on Browns Ferry Road. Bought it, yes. And
$500.
$500 down and $140 a month. Yeah, $140 a month. And so we lived there until 70.
When did you buy it?
When?
What year?
I would say it was the year before Dory was born. So it
71.
was 71, that's right. And we moved in, and we happened to, well, actually Bob's boss, Joe Wilkins, had told him about it being for sale because they lived right next door. And he and Joe got to be really good friends because they worked on a lot of stuff together.
How much
Built
property was it?
1 acre.
Okay.
Yeah, had a big front yard, not much of a backyard, but anyway.
It seemed much larger than that to a little boy.
Right.
Well, there was a field behind the house. It was like 60 acres.
Right.
Yeah, and nothing on it at that time anyway.
And we're probably ready to start our next story.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.